Charlie, I'm grateful to you, your willingness to do this. He's nervous. This is not his preferred venue, so, but he's conceded to do it. So I'm going to give them you, and you just run until you're out of gas, and then we'll pick up the pieces and go home.
I don't like being above you, I'm sorry. I don't like being above you. I thought of this, how to do this story for 3 months because they wouldn't let me share it when I came back.
Charlie,
What are you going to see?
You have to turn your mic on.
Oh, you can't hear me? I'm Italian. How do you do that? Oh, it's like my guitar thing. I don't use it very often. Oh, there you go. I feel like I'm rigged, like somebody going into, spying on people. Anyway, I'm not spying on anyone, but my story's liable to be a little emotional, so I'm very glad to see some tears, because I don't care if it's Thanksgiving or what day it is. There's people out there I care about, and then I meet people all the time that I care about. I'm not God, but I do have love. I want you I'm going to make myself accountable to you. There's a fruit of the Spirit. You keep it in mind. Now, Jesus said we'd have 30-fold, some would have 60-fold, and some would have 100-fold. I've always played it safe and called myself 30-fold Charlie. I had to, because I had to look at myself. And I have seen myself since birth. My whole life is before my eyes at all times. You never know what's going to happen. I don't even know. So we played a lot last night, and I explained to Pastor Doug what has been happening for 3 months. Since I've met you people, and I decided to join Christian fellowship after all these years, 37 years. I was bitter. And when I made that decision, I've been blown away ever since, man. All right? People cannot deal with me in the general public anyway, right? Then I come in here and you people are buzzing too. So I'm like, wow, man. 1979 will be the first song that I sing. And I made the song because I was angry at the people in this building at that time. Well, it wasn't all their fault. A lot of it was my fault. And I can't mention with the kids here how severe and why I was in that condition. But some of you have heard me speak about that. I have told you that I've had resentments and I've had to work on them. And some resentments are there, you don't even know you got them. Years later, you walk up to somebody and go, ah, I got a resentment in there. It hasn't poisoned me, but it's there. And it's just amazing how God works. He just keeps changing you. People tell me, like, you're all done now, you're all old, and you've got everything you're going to get. I'm just starting, man. Are you kidding me? I've been blown away. I've been blown away for a couple of years now, and I haven't been able to swallow food for 24 years. I have a belly. And I got rid of that mustache. But anyway, if this works okay, this is going to get a little heavy. We're going to just let the Lord do it. And this is probably the best way for me to wake up. I probably slept 4 hours, so. Is this in tune? I use electric strings because this is what we did in Vietnam, and I have never changed. I am in Vietnam at all times, and for good reason, and I hope you'll see that. I'm getting dry already. This is crazy. This is for Shelbyville, but it ended up a song for me and a song for the world. If any man. If any man loves the world, the love of God is not in him. If we say we have no sin, it's a lie we can't begin to understand the mysteries of a life we could possess. Always learning, never coming to a knowledge of the truth. I am the way, he said, I am the truth, he said, I am the wisdom from above. Believe in me and you'll be set free from the darkness there below. That I redeemed you, I redeemed you, I bought you with a price. Every hair on your head is numbered, but you must deliver the merchandise. Oh, come to me, all you who thirst, you shall be satisfied. I'm a rock, I am a fortress, in me you can confide. So climb aboard, no you can't afford to miss that day of joy. A day when men who shun the truth, they'll wish they'd ever deny. The sacrifice of Jesus Christ gotta put you in the clear. Without his love, you push and shove, but you don't get anywhere. I'm sorry about that. It's been a while. So if any man loves the world, the love of God not in him, and if we say we have no sin, it's a lie, we will never begin. But I should have blown the Shelbyville Church away with that in 1979, but I didn't. I'm glad I'm a little nervous. I don't mind if God humbles me before you. All my guitar playing is bad. And my singing is no way, man. None of you guys said that. It's not about that. But that song, you know, I've done that for people who are drinking beers out on the rocks up in the mountains in different places and different individuals. I'm not really a public guy. My music is meant just to sing to God and just to heal me. God gave me this talent to help me. But every time I took it uptown, we won't go into that. Thanks for the water. I am getting dry because I told Kate last night, this is like the Apollo Theater 1959, okay? I'm not going to dance like James Brown. I might break something. I got stitches. I fall on my butt, right? And, but you guys are a tough crowd because I have to let you know who I am. You see a biker come in here with all these brand new tattoos. They are brand new. And I did that for a reason, because I love young people, and I want them to, did I bring my bag? I'll give you a quick idea, because I'm going to make a 21-year story, I mean, fast, and pastors prayed with me. We're hoping the Holy Spirit will, indeed, keep me under control. Okay, I'll give you an idea of what I'm really like. I want to be obscure, so I came up with this mask. This is my spiritual name in Vietnam, TASH, because they were into Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, you know, all this weird stuff in the 60s. I had Jesus from birth. I had him. I have parents that serve the Lord from the heart. One drank too much. God forgive him, but I pray with him in the end. I don't care how long you mess up. If we can get you last minute, man, it don't matter. Is Jesus, is he really a crutch? I was told in this church that he was a stretcher. And I'm like, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to keep it light because I want to show you what it's like, what I do when I go play public. Because people have a problem with age. And then I play my guitar like, scare people to death, right? Now, see? No mustache, no face, right? This is my favorite getup. It is. It really is. And I accomplished a lot of things with that. There are other things that I have in my little bag of tricks that I'll bring out later. Charlie was born in 1949. Israel became a nation the year before. My father had just lost a child. He went from one end of Boston to the other to the hospital without his car. He ran. I come from a very stressed out family, I would say. All right? We're not going to talk dysfunction. I don't believe in dysfunction. They're just crazy people. You know what I mean? I think the whole earth is blown away if you really look at yourselves and if I look at myself. And I have done that. It's not up to me to point out your stuff. But, my first memory is throwing up on a window, 1-year-old, throwing up on a window. In my mind, fresh as the day it happened. Post-traumatic stress disorder, they call it. How about praise the supreme deity? How about that? Because my memories are always with me. And that, my brother explained to me what that was. That 2 gentlemen upstairs were going to kill my mother and my 2.5-year-old brother. And my father had to beat their brains in and put them in the street. And the police came and took them. I don't have to tell you a lot. I'm just going to give you very, very little. Now, I'm not saying my life's been rougher than yours. I've learned that your pain is sufficient for you. But it took a while. You'd tell me your problems and I would laugh until I cried. So, it's a rough story. But, am I grateful for it? Every inch of it. All things work together for the good that don't love God. For them to call according to his purpose. For every son he scourges. Amen? Let's keep that in mind as I give that story. I think that's what the Lord's been showing me. And Psalm 91, I didn't memorize it, but 1,000 will fall by your side and 10,000 at your right side. And not a hair on your head will be touched. You won't be hurt. I don't care what it is. Throw it at me, man. Give it to me. Give me pain. Give me tears. Give me cries. All you're doing is giving me a drive to care about you. Amy's on my guitar because I didn't even know who she was. And when they saw her, I just was immersed to help addicts, which is what I do sometimes. But I'm not here for that. I talk to people in supermarkets of all ages. I'm one of them guys you meet in the supermarket and something happens to you. But that's the comedy that comes out of our family, even though it was crazy. And Dad punched everybody out, and I was supposed to grow up to beat everybody up. I was bullied as a child. Bullied in neighborhoods, hit with axes, threatened in school on death lists. Teachers beat me, nuns beat me, priests beat me, cops beat me. Dad beat me, but it's his eyes that scared me more than anything. But he grew up rough, and I learned it later, that you had to understand what love is in some people. Me, it's not too hard because I wore it. If I stole something, it said it right here. I didn't! I had the law of God. I believed in Jesus Christ. I didn't have the Word of God. I only had tidbits by these fancy guys with robes. Okay? Need I go any further? But I remember that I was told in this church by a pastor who was ousted, which drove me out of here. He said that no matter what church you go to, you're going to find the true believers right in their midst. The demons in our lofties, the spots and blemishes. I pray to God I'm not one of them, but they are here. And I have seen them. And I don't want you to think that I came in to infiltrate you. You guys have infiltrated me. You have. And I thank God for that. It's wonderful to be here, to be able to tell you that. Now, by the time I was a teenager, I think, Pastor, you can see me as a child there in Dorchester, okay? I'm from Doughty. We don't know how to say from Doughty, right? And that's what, there I am in Bellingham, and we moved to Bellingham. Now, my father ripped up all the pictures because he was jealous. Alcoholism and stuff like that. What does it cause? All kinds of problems. You already got a sin nature. You already got a fallen nature. Now you add that to it, and then Satan sticks his foot out. And he just says, and uses you against yourself. That's how I see it. You can see anything you want, but Satan has used me against me. So I've had to do a lot of work to get where I am today. And I thank the God that he does send people. So even as a kid, there was always, somebody came. Somebody came. Somebody came and understood me. Oh my God. Some people worry that they're going to understand me. And anyway, my father still continued punching people out. I grew up in bars, shining shoes uptown. 8 years old. 9 years old, I was in a street gang. I wasn't bullied anymore. Dad taught me that it was a hostile world. Dad was right. I came to Bellingham. We had to fight everybody in town because we were from the city. I'm only 4'11", 89 pounds. I don't want to hit nobody. Why do I have to? That's what a man is. You're going to take that? No, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Have I become angry? Yeah. Have I made mistakes after? Yeah. Have I? Do I have the right to judge my dad or anyone else? No, I don't. I'm blown away. And I think what reaches people the most is our hearts, who we are. What gets me the most about our Lord Jesus Christ is that he became one of us. Then Lazarus' death, he keeps telling me, they ain't going to listen to this, they ain't going to listen to that. Tell them about my humanity, that I became one of you. And he purposely let Lazarus die. And then when he went there, he knew he was going to raise him, but he cried. I'm like, that's who we're talking about. And these people I hang with, man, they're talking about this God, fire and brimstone, and this God of vengeance, this God of anger. And I'm like, you're missing the point. If I were him, I'd destroy this place myself. Have you been around? Have you looked at yourself? Oh my God, get me out of this body. You know, Paul's right. Who can save me from this death, this body of death? And it's not so much the age I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the sin that so easily besets us. Everybody has them. Would they share them? Be careful, I just might, but it's Thanksgiving. My mother-in-law always used to say, don't start. Now, some of you got the idea of where I come from and what it's like to be an Italian growing up in Boston in an Irish neighborhood. I love Irish people. My nickname is McGinty, and green is my color because Mom dressed me in green. And they called me McGinty after a cartoon from World War II. So I grew up with Irish kids, but it was Irish street gangs, Mike Mullen, Jackie Doherty. Never forget them. By the time I was 10 years old, I knew a lot. I knew a lot about the world, and I didn't accept it because I still wanted to just be a good kid. That's all I wanted to do. I really didn't want to steal candy and stuff. I didn't have any money, you know, and I'd go to the priest and pray, and he'd give me a couple of Our Fathers, Hail Marys, and the old set, right? I figured when you get out of church, you're safe for an hour. After that, there's no guarantee you're going to heaven. So I feel bad for people like that, and I try to find a way to tell them that the only thing we were lacking, we had the works. No one loves like my mom. I've got her stuff with me. Her testimony comes from people everywhere. Father was in vaudeville, so there was a stand-up act. He would do shows and dance routines on the spot, and I don't know what's going to happen with him. I have no idea. Today was very humble. Good. I messed it up. Good. I'm glad, because I can get pretty scary on that thing, and I can be a blessing at the same time. But it's a balance in life that I'm going to share with you. Now, I didn't want to hurt nobody, and I lent the gun to a kid in 1968. He wasn't stable, and we used to shoot rats and whatever at the dump, and he shot a 14-year-old kid who I loved, point blank in the head. I went to Vietnam, busted. They killed John F. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, and Martin Luther King was the end. America is out the window. I am a man without a country. These people are gone. That's who went to Vietnam. I didn't give you the whole story. I don't want it to get too heavy for you, because it is a beautiful thing. It really is. Don't be fooled by my tears. I got drafted. I dropped out of school. Mom signed me out. She said I'd play guitar down in the cotton fields. She'd be fine, because she knew I wasn't learning anything. And I wasn't doing well, because people that come from a rough background tend to act out. So I'm one of the original punks. I'm an original punk. I don't dress like a punk. Well, kind of punky, yeah. I think the older I get, the more punky I get. But I go to Vietnam. I just want to get out of town. I'm sick of hanging around with the people I'm hanging with and doing the things we were doing and doing the stuff we were doing. So I saw Jesus Christ Superstar on Lysergic, When they buried my aunt, I said, I feel like I'm burying Jesus Christ. Whoa. Because there was so much love for her. She was so revered. Unreal. In the midst of havoc, husbands throwing them downstairs in front of cars, pregnant. That's all I'm going to tell you. Now I'm in Vietnam. I don't want to kill nobody. That ain't none of the guy. They got a sword and they say, what is the spirit of the band that? To kill. To kill without what? To kill without mercy. And then I giggle. They're kidding me, right? I'll be glad when this is over. They put me in artillery. I was so grateful. I didn't have to see a lot. I do have one photograph. That's inappropriate for the young public. And I sent it home, and I cried about that years later, that I even took part in anything like that. The men that I served with, I would say most of them are men of whom the world is not worthy. That kind of thing. My phone going? My mic went off. What do you do with it? Oh, it fell? She's Italian in me. I had a counselor that held my hands to see if I would stop, talking, right? She held my hands on my side like that. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't talk. But I do talk a lot, and I do talk too much. But you want to understand that I come out of a very traumatic situation. But I didn't understand it all until the Word of God came in my life in 1976. And then I ended up at this church. And my Bible is dated February 1977. I finally got in here. And it was a guy who believed in astrology who let me here. Isn't God fun? Nah. I don't look at people anymore like they don't have something to offer. I look at them like every man. He tasted death for every man. And my Catholic friends, I just say, get to the Word. Don't let anyone keep you from getting to the Word of God. And don't try to interpret anything. Just absorb it. And let the Holy Spirit and God will deal with you, and He will reveal Himself to you. You can tell I've been on my own for a long time. But I got to Vietnam, and I was so cute, huh? That's Joe. That's my friend Joe. He lost his hair in the same time I did, Brando. And Joe rolled around on the ground like a dog, the way the concussion hit him. And then soon after, I lost mine. And I served over a year deaf, like I am. Deaf in one ear and I don't listen out of the other anyway. And then it's selective. But I love these pictures because I love this kid. I had to. I hated him. I was so ashamed, so full of guilt. I have to look at these pictures. My father ripped up all the pictures. There are none of us. I look like Jackie Cooper. I was cute. I don't know where it is, but we treasure little things like that, from our family. But I'm so grateful to have come from them. Unreal. It blows my mind that I could come from people that had a funny way about showing love. But they put the fear of God in me. They just didn't put the love of God in me enough. It was too much fear. So when I got to Vietnam, I was thinking about, maybe there is reincarnation. Maybe there is. Guess what? We got martyred first time. My innocence was gone. I had no more ideas about reincarnation. In fact, I had no more ideas about anything. All I did was I prayed with a Catholic priest. I went up in the tower and started praying to Jesus the regular way, like you guys do, straight out. In fact, we're talking to him now. He's right here with me, and I'm realizing it. But he was there in that tower with me. He has always been with me, protecting me. For what? I ain't worth this. Well, even Larry Norman's song, I'm a servant, getting ready for my call. I don't deserve this. I'd quickly fall. How could you choose me? Me. And when you were singing one day, you were singing, Even Me, that song you guys do, I'm like, wow, man. That's how it is. So when I got to Vietnam, I had to go have my hearing checked, and one of our guns accidentally killed the guys. One of the guys, while they were getting overrun, and we were shooting at LG Gloria, 101st Airborne. You don't want to mess with any of them. They're trained to kill, and we're just support using. So I go to the hospital, and I'm hanging out, and I'm doing things I can't say, and all of a sudden they saw my patch, and then they changed. Well, that's when the war and life completely changed for me. I already knew the world was hostile, and I already knew that America was hostile. I already knew that. I can't go in certain neighborhoods. And sometimes you're better off alone rather than with others. It's crazy. And I knew this, and Vietnam was like that. I kept deactivating and going to different places after this experience. These guys brought me to a bar after telling me about their friend that got killed the month before I got there. I did not do it. They were going to take my life as payback. You've seen the movies. Time for payback. And they're not kidding. But I guess if you see the atrocities happen to your friends, something's going to happen to you. And they put you in the midst of that kind of a thing. So it took me a while to understand these guys. But I dreamed about them chasing me for at least 38 years. And that set my tour off in a different place. And then there were some problems with boys from the South. They didn't like city boys, and they didn't like African Americans. I love them because my music comes from there. And before Black History Month, there was Ruth E. Pasquarillo, my mom. And we'd dance to James Brown for breakfast. Ask my niece how it is to wake up with me. And my mom is right there with me, singing songs and sharing. That's what we do. We don't just preach a gospel to people. Sometimes we just cheer people up or help them out. And then we earn the right maybe to say something. Then we earn the right. I'll pay you $20 to let me read a scripture at your door. Don't come to my door preaching to me. If I give you $20 and you give me like a minute, that's fair, right? I'm liable to be able to. That was my thought in the 70s. Yeah, I'll pay them, because I was dealing with a lot of cults. And So I'm up on a lot of stuff in that area. But as far as the world being hostile, I didn't understand it. The rest of Vietnam I won't tell you about, but my guitar playing is developed from Americans from all over the country. It is not developed by myself. I don't believe it. It's developed as a gift from God, but he sends people to help. And they've helped me in more ways than I can tell yet. The experience I'm going to tell you about, I think you got a pretty good idea. This is the end of my tour. I'd ask Pastor to play that video of my black friend giving a little speech. That first one, please.
Racial tensions crackle in the base camps. Even music makes tempers flare.
When we turn up James Brown, the chicken, they would turn up, I hear that train a-coming.
19-year-old Kimo Williams, a supply specialist at a rear base near Saigon, feels the animosity.
And then somebody would yell, you know, turn that, down. You turn that down, and then next thing you know, there's fight.
Many blacks are bitter about risking their lives for a United States where racism persists.
If you're a black soldier, you start to think about, I'm going to go home to even worse than when I'm here. I can't go here, I can't go there, and it starts to eat away at you while you're there.
Whoever said we did, man, all you got to do is make it out of here. It's all gravy. Every day, the rest of your life, gravy.
So I saw a little prejudice at the beginning of the war, and during my whole tour, I extended. I've been on the East Coast, north of the East Coast, in the center of the country, on the other end of the country, in a place called Ben Het, right over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, the most strategic place in Vietnam. I really feel like a hero now. The more I learn and watch these videos, I'm like, wow, I am a hero. You know, because people feel like a hero. I'm not a hero. They're going to put me in jail for 5 years if I didn't go. Okay? Salute. Okay? Am I American? Yeah, I was born here. I'm American native of Boston and this area. So this is home. I don't know Italy. I wouldn't even know how to speak the language. You know. But they'd know my mannerism, that there was something there, you know. But my sauce, yeah. But anyway, you know, the rest of the war I won't get into. It was very. I almost got killed 3 times by our own people. They're crazy people. But it was because of drugs or something, or paranoia, or something that, in our sin nature, that they haven't dealt with. You know, it's very scary. And they have guns. You know, everybody has an automatic weapon. Talk about equality. You know what? It didn't go to my head. It didn't. But I bought like a BB gun replica of it, and I'm like, wow, I haven't felt this safe in so long. But it wasn't from the Viet Cong. It was from Americans. Wow. Talk about coming out of an Italian neighborhood into an Irish neighborhood. I love Irish people. But it was rowdy. Boom, boom, boom. A lot of people beating everybody up. And I'm like, wow. I don't want to hurt nobody. And you can tell by these pictures here. This brother here, that's a picture after this incident I'm going to tell you about. Well, we're near the end of the tour. I've been in 4 different units and places. All the ones have gone home. And the artillery guys are out walking the jungle and doing all the work. Believe me. And we didn't know. They don't tell you. And they don't tell you who got hurt, when, where. We don't know nothing. All we know is, like that guy said, we just got to make it out of here alive. But it wasn't Charlie Kong that I worried about. Now, that guitar has got me with the Spanish folk, with my brothers. I call them Brother Brown. I don't know where they got this black thing from. And I could get in with all kinds of people because of that guitar. I can play Controversy, put him Contra Boy down there. And I can rock with the City Boys. And of course, I grew up with Motown and James Brown, Jimi Hendrix. And my music is 80% African American. All my style. My mom is too. And so I get in with a lot of people. So I'm sitting on a sandbag one night, which is my favorite thing. I still do it. I sit on the sandbags all by myself under the stars. Nobody's blowing us away. There ain't any green traces flying, red traces flying at me from others. There's no bombs. There's no noise. I'm deaf anyway, right? My ears are screaming. And I just play the guitar to the stars. It was my way of playing. It was my way of coming away from the noise. The noise in here, the noise out there, the noise back home. I mean, I felt it all, every inch. You're my hug. Now, I hug when I come home. But this story was one of the most important. I have some fun ones, so believe me. But this one's very important, of people hating people. I'm not a peace person, but I believe in peace. And I'm not one of them peace sign guys. I brought one with me, just to break down a little bit. And I'm sitting on the sandbags about midnight. I extended, I was supposed to get out in January. I extended till March so I could get out of the Army, period. And I'm playing the guitar, and about 15 country boys from the South, they built a bar. When you do something in Vietnam, you do it to the max. That's where I learned that. And I am maxed. I was maxed anyway out of my family life. I didn't need any help. But anyway, I'm sitting there playing, and these guys came to kill the two black men, and they came to kill the city boys from New York City. And they meant me to Boston, but they liked me. And they said, if you don't want to be part of this, you better get out of here right now. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a gun. I'm sitting there with a guitar, man, my dog. You've seen the picture out there. And I'm like, somebody blew a yellow alert. And I've never heard one all the time I've been there, because we've always been told what to do and when to do it, and we were right there. This time it was a yellow alert with a siren. Wow. Somebody must have heard what was going on at the bar they built and reported it. And that intervention is God-given. I've already lived a whole life of seeing Americans and people hating people. I couldn't be where people hated people. But I learned later that I could hate people. I could. But at that time, I didn't see stuff like that. And what happened was, the miracle of this story is, in an artillery unit, you do not gather everyone in one room. But as long as it's building, kind of like a cow barn, a little wider than this, with stalls. This is an above-ground hooch. We call it a hooch. You do not gather the whole company, including the commanding officer. Okay? They were all gathered, I don't know how. They were all gathered there, and my room was there. And a young man, an African-American man, Andy, I have never heard him say a word. I've never heard him say one word. He wasn't a jive brother. Who knows where he was from? He was in communications, so we didn't see him. We're on the guns and permanent guard. And Andy came in screaming that God had woken him in his sleep, screaming, "My Father woke me in my sleep." Now, I'm not going to tell you all the words that he said. He walked up and down the aisle, in every person's face in a T-shirt with his army pants and no shoes on. My Father woke me. Now, I love Martin Luther King, and I've seen some good preachers come out of there, and I've seen them twist and go bad, and I'm not going to get into it. Pray that it doesn't happen to me. But what brings me back to Nam all these years is that story. Andy hit everybody. Charlie is in his room going, yeah. In other words, you say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord, right? I say, yeah, yeah. God knows what I mean. My heart goes, yeah, man, do it. Guess what? I have never seen so much love in my whole life, and a whole company of men transformed before my very eyes. There are some remnants because we do have tail end of stuff, like this can't be real. And the picture of my black friend will be on the track right here. This is, we were going to the Lamb Song campaign, the final battle. And that's when the Arbans, the South Vietnamese, would fight for themselves, and all we would do was support them. I had no idea I was in Laos. We went on a hip shoot, and they took me off permanent guard because I was an old-timer. And I mean old-timer. When you're an old-timer in Vietnam, you're 20 years old, you're an old-timer. And we used to carry a little stick like this. It meant we were short. Ha-ha, you got to stay. I'm out of here. Right? So it was kind of fun stuff to learn. It all works out for the good. I hated it, but boy, did it work out after I got the Word of God. And over recent years, my life has changed. 3.5 years ago, I scared you a little bit more. I didn't scare any of you. I can see that. But I saw them transformed, and I've never seen that anywhere. I've stood in this church and told them I've seen more love in a bar, and I went back there. Then I came back with that song. Of course, I didn't do it that great for you, but I'm glad I didn't. It's okay. It's not a big deal. But that, people wonder why I keep going back to Nam. I go back to them sandbags. You see me with the dog in that picture? If Pastor Doug can find that picture. These are guys, they just love my playing, so they let me use their guitars. But my guitar is an ammo box, 105 howitzer. And the frets are made out of the brass canisters of the gun we shot. And you look in the guitar and it says 105 howitzer millimeter. Those people are creative. I did not hate the Vietnamese people. I did not kill any babies. If I did, it was an accident. So why didn't I wasn't welcomed home. No one's heard this story like you have. I saw God move in Vietnam in such a way that you don't do in an artillery unit. I've never seen such love. I didn't want to leave them. Then I came back to this turmoil. See, that's the big deal. All these people arguing about what you doing over there. What are you doing over there? What can I tell them? You sent me. How about looking at my photo albums? I got the pictures of a butterfly migration. I'm a child. I have 12 kids. Even when I was 12. I wanted to have 12. Oh boy, the wrong woman. So anyway, that's how I've always been. My mother said when I was 6 years old, I would stand up on the chair and tell everybody everything that happened that day. Guess what? Well, what would they call you today? A photojournalist? Huh? A documentarian? I'm sorry. I mark it down. I hear everything you say. I'll remember your gestures, your eyeballs, and everything. I've seen people stand up here and they're not even talking, they're not even looking at you, they're just preaching the word of God, they're not even looking at you. I look at people now, and I'm not afraid to say, hey, I got faults. You know what? My faults sometimes are the things that draw people to Christ. And sometimes the fact that those faults got better having known about them, they say, I want what you have. The Vietnam story I have shared with, I'm sure, my brown brothers in Providence and Pawtucket. But it took them a while, really, to understand where I was coming from. Because I was acting like, don't you know who I am? I almost died for your whole people. That's how I felt. A little blown out, right? I'm blown out anyway. You know that. But, you know, thank God for Thanksgiving, for the pastor, for you guys being so kind to me and understanding that's only that much of a real story, but most of my story is meant for the world out there. And my testimony is to draw people to Christ and have this man right here and people like him organize the scriptures for them. My story is my story. And Psalm 91 says it all for me. It says right at the end that you will see the salvation of the Lord. And today, that's what I've done. So to make a long story short, 3 months preparing for this has blown me to pieces. But God has done work in me. Just having the opportunity to share this with you. And I didn't cry as much as I thought I would. And thank you very much that you listened. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I thank God for the invitation that I have to share the day with our pastor. And I will not call any man pastor. Okay? That man, I said, I have just adopted a pastor. And now I'm church guy. So that, to me, it may not be a big deal to you. Those people out there are like, what happened to him, man? He became one of them. What did he do that for? So I love you, man. Thank you very much.
Couple of small gaps to fill in. Charlie, coming back from the war, found his way to this church in the 70s, and here he found legalism and judgment, and burnt and left. So I'm thankful for the full circle that you could actually find your way back to church, and it was here. Huh? Oh, it's back in the back. 815 if you need the words. Let's stand together. We'll close with the doxology, and then we will head to our